December last time we met.
All right, we'll have a call to order so good evening and welcome to the Trophy Club Crime Control Prevention District meeting for April 10th, 2024. I hereby call the meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. with members present.
That's good.
First thing, we'll do a roll call. Perfect timing there. Leo Daniels is not with us today.
Right.
Mark Bartles.
Here.
Chris McAllister. Christine.
Udvar-Hazy. Here.
Royce Labor.
Here.
And Heath Williams. I'm present.
Yes. Fred.
We have a quorum. So our next order of business is public comments. Do we have anyone signed up to speak? We don't have anyone signed up to speak. Okay. With that said, we'll move on to individual items. So do we have anyone signed up to speak?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to individual items. So the first order of business is to take appropriate action regarding the Trophy Club Crime Control and Prevention District Board minutes from December 5th, 2023. Everyone had a chance to review those minutes?
Yes,
Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. We have 6 in favor. Next order of business is a discussion regarding department's mental health programs and potential future improvements. And I'd like to invite Chief Arata to speak.
Thank you. Board, thank you. This is one of our programs that the CCPD supports, is a mental health program. And so we've done a great job over the last several years of training all of our police officers and staff to deal with mental health issues and working with our counterparts in the county, with the DA's office, the mental health court, and the sheriff's office with their response team. But over time, some of those things and assets have diminished. So the sheriff's department has lost a lot of members. So their mental health unit used to respond when we needed help down here. They no longer provide that support. That team has basically been disbanded. So we're still working with them, but we don't get the same support we used to get. We're working with the DA's office. They've lost a few people. The court, we're talking with the court to help us. And we're doing the best that we can. So, but we still have issues. So some of the things that are mental health that are, what I mean by that is just dealing with people that need a little bit more than just police, right? We have family disputes. We have people that have issues that aren't police related, but they call for us to help them. So they have internet identity theft issues. They have other things that we need to help them with that we just can only do so much. But there's more needed than what's actually affecting them that draws the police in. So it requires a lot of time on the officer's behalf and things like that. So we're going to talk about it in the next budget workshop that we have that'll be next. Our next meeting is ways to enhance our capabilities in the future. It may be more training, it may be more communication with other departments. There are a lot of other things, but even reaching out and spending time talking to our mental health hospitals that we work with. So we have had a lot of people in the past in this town that we've dealt with where we've taken them to the mental health hospitals, and it's been a recurring event. And unfortunately, some of those people have ended up in jail. So those people aren't with us for the next couple of years, but they take a lot of our time. So we've had people still in town that require a lot of our time. And when we go through some of these events, let's take a divorce or something where people are going through a hard time and they need some assistance, they call us, right? And the police department show up and they spend time talking to them, and there's protocols and procedures we have to follow. And if there's any type of issues there, then we have to ask somebody to leave. Somebody's got to separate for the night. And that requires even more assistance from the police department. But is it a police officer's job? Right? Because now we need to get assistance to get them into a room somewhere or a shelter, things like that. And then we should most probably follow up later on. And we don't always have the resources to do that. So, we got to figure out a way to make that work. Is it an outside agency that we can help us, reach out to help us? We had the Advocacy Center that's out there, the one in Denton County. We utilize them a lot, right? That's another tool that we have. And just coordinating with them makes us a better asset. But do they have the time to help us?
What was the center name again?
The Advocacy Center,
Oh,
Denton County
Advocacy.
Family.
Okay.
Yeah, so family, friends, there's multiple components. They're all self-funded, grant-funded type things that help us. So when we're talking about a mental health program, it's not just the police department. So we got to think about even more outside nowadays. And how do we help these other components make sure that they're helping us? So is it communication? So it really brings in the perspective of how big of a program can we handle within the CCPD. So that's why we're going to talk about it in our budget. At our next meeting is what do we want to reallocate funding for in our budget. So as we go down the road, looking forward, is the training of the police officers what we need? Do we need more training? And bringing in other people.
Have we always had a mental health program?
Yep. Yeah, we've gotten all of our officers trained. So we spent, when we began that program, when CCPD first started, we tried to send 4 or 5 officers a year to mental health training. We only have 2 or 3 that are actually the top level mental health people, because it takes a while to get through all that training. So that's what Denton County used to provide for us. When they had their 6-man mental health unit, that unit was fantastic. And when they came down, we had one particular family that really needed our help and their help. They would come down and deal with them. We got there first, but we waited for the mental health team to come in, and they were able to talk to that individual and deal with him multiple times before he got the help he needed and moved on.
You mentioned you take,
I apologize, I don't want to mention names and stuff like that, but yes.
you mentioned you take them to mental health hospitals.
Yes.
How many are there and where are they?
There's 3 or 4 in our area. The main 2 we use is on that sheet, University Behavioral Health Institute, and then Denton County. So I did give you a handout. So UBH is the mental health hospital that we use the most up in Denton County, and the Sheriff's Department has a team there, and they provide a great service. And if we really need to, we go down to Fort Worth, but coordinating all that. But we go Denton County first, because that's where we have the most access.
So that's where you would take your emergency commitments,
Yep.
go up there. Okay.
Yeah.
Chief, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Whenever they do respond, what's the legalities once the officers are there
For what type of event?
for the mental health?
Yeah, we're not determining what, there's obviously a reason why we were called there, right? So there's usually a crime involved first, but then the officers, if the crime is secondary to the reason that the event was caused, because usually it's a domestic disturbance, it's destruction of property or something like that, the officers get to balance one way or the other. And we're leaning heavily towards the mental health side first before we go criminal. So, and if we can work within that system, and the DA's office and the courts have really tried to help, but, the resources are not there either. But
Okay, that's
we
what I'll-
try to move that direction, because putting somebody in jail is not the answer, right? It's a solution to a problem that's temporary, because they're going to get right back out. And if we don't help solve the problem, it's going to keep recurring, and that's what's happening today.
But you have to, when you go there, if there's been violence or anything, you have to separate them.
Yep,
And the only thing to do with the one that you're taking out is,
right.
Lock 'em up.
In a domestic type situation, one has to go, but if there was a violence of some type of attack or something, somebody's got to go. That's right. But we can also move that to the other side of the fence too. And that's what the advantage of the DA's, working with the DA's office and the court can help us separate the two and mitigate the criminal side.
Yeah.
So we're not taking somebody criminal when they really don't, that wasn't the answer in the first place. So, yeah, so there's a lot to this program, and that's why just being the police may not always work.
Right.
So, but our team has done a great job on making sure that we give the individual the service that they really need to solve the problem when we're dealing with mental health.
Does every one of your officers have the ability and the, I guess, the key to be able to take anyone that for a 72-hour hold? Or is there only certain officers that can do?
Oh, you have to have an affidavit. You have to write the facts to give them, put them in the 72 hold.
you do?
So there's not just, the officer
not-
can't just say,
That's my question.
I believe this person. There has to be facts. You have to write an affidavit and sign by a judge to get them into the system. Yeah,
how long does that take?
not that long. It's only a paragraph or two, but it's a
No, I mean-
justification.
I mean, can it happen in an hour? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, it can.
Yeah, it can happen very quickly. The system is set up for that.
So that they can,
It's emergency hold, yes, where we can do paperwork and get somebody into the system. Now, they may not hold them for 72 hours.
Right.
If the doctor comes in and says, this person's not, is good, or what, they took some medication and they're good, they may let them out. But the majority it works well. That system works well. And there's other mechanisms too for 90 days and evaluations and stuff,
part of
which
that,
take a lot more.
part of that training helps the officers recognize, like, I remember I knew a guy one time, was a good friend of mine out here, and by the time the police got there, he was okay because his blood sugar went crazy
Right,
and his wife wasn't home, and she got home and made him eat something and he was okay.
right.
But he was out there jaw-jacking with his neighbor, and the neighbor's wife called the police.
Yeah. Oh, that's how it happens. And part of this program, we'll be working with the fire department. And we do a really good job here in town, working with the fire department. Especially in situations like that, we call the fire department, the paramedics out to help us evaluate people.
That's what I was
So,
going for, how to
yes.
evaluate them.
We have a very good working relationship and coordination with that. So, yeah. So the point of this meeting is to let you know that next month, when we talk about the budget, we'll be talking about this and what do we want to look like going forward. So,
So I guess what you're saying is sometimes when you get called out, it's from people who are in crisis for some
Yep.
reason. And it's not always a legal issue or something that requires the police, but they're in crisis for something and you need an alternative
yep.
mental health person or
Yes.
system to be able to call on.
Yeah, and the ability to deal with after the fact. How are we handling these ongoing issues with people, either with the court system or the mental health system, or just staying in touch? How do we enhance our program to allow for that?
Check back with them.
Yep, so they don't become a problem.
Yeah.
So you're actually getting crisis situations, not crime situations, that
Yep.
they're being called, taking them the hours away.
It appears as a crime, right? Because somebody's really having trouble. And it happens a lot over here at the hotel. People, staying in this hotel for a certain reason, and they get agitated, they get drunk, there's other things going on, but the answer is not that. So, cool, thank you. So this is just a discussion, so
Yeah.
to put it on the table.
Hey, Chief, I had just a question. Does the fire department or the fire service, are they mandated to attend the crisis intervention training like law enforcement officers are?
I don't know the exact answer to that. I know they have their own mental health training. So do you have
I'm not
any
aware
input,
of
any mandate?
Any mandates?
type of thing,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, so we've all reviewed the summary and the collaborative approach of the police department. There's a lot baked in there, so we're looking forward to the discussion at the next meeting. Do we have the date for the next meeting?
no, we'll talk about that in the next item.
Okay.
Yep.
Anybody have any more questions for Chief? So now we'll move on to receive the police department update.
Yep. Well, thank you. I think, we have a robust school program, so just a little issue with that. I mean, our school resource officers are doing a great job. We've provided them the new drug analyzer, which has worked well. We've used it a number of times since we've gotten it, and we've identified some methamphetamine and some other drugs in an instant to help us understand what was going on with some individuals. So that was a great purchase, so thank you, and we'll keep you updated on that. We're also working very closely with the schools with the current threat situation. I think we've all known about the middle school events, so those are continuing. So we're working through that with the school district and spending a lot of resources to make sure that the schools continue safe.
Have they identified the individual?
No, it's not. We don't believe it's an individual. We believe it's an internet type thing. So, but we are, spending a lot of resources to try to make sure that that's the situation. So, we've had new officers on board, so we have 2 vacancies left. Sergeant Rowan retired, and we promoted Levi Cobbler to sergeant. So all 4 of our sergeants are internal candidates. So all of our officers have started here and worked here and promoted their way up. So that's a pretty good indication we're doing well on building our management team for the future here. Let's see what else. That's the school new officers. So we're actively recruiting, so help us do that if you know of anybody that's interested. So, and we're still looking for crossing guards. So we're always looking for crossing guards. So
That's the question I had when it comes to crossing guards. I mean, just as far as the whole situation with, in the morning traffic, do you feel like we've digressed, improved about the same at the start of the year?
I think most of you met the new town manager, Mr. Wright, who's sitting here with us tonight. We are doing a study on that area for traffic control, but talking about the traffic for the school zone and the school times, I believe there is an improvement with the expansion of time that the school district allowed between the start time and finish time of the middle school and the high school. That has definitely helped with some of the traffic congestion for us. Is it enough? We'll find out.
How many crossing guards do we have?
We have 8. We're on the books for 10, but we've consistently had 8. So I know we're losing one at the end of this summer. At the end of this year. So we're always looking for them, but they're doing a fantastic job of keeping the traffic safe and moving and crossing our kids. So, but the town is in the process of doing a traffic study.
Okay.
And we're going to be going out to the public and asking for input and stuff. So please, if you're listening to this meeting, watch for that kind of stuff online for public input. But the crossing guard environment is something that we need to improve a little bit. Get a few more people to give them some help. It'd be nice to have 10 crossing guards. But we do well. If you look at them, we put uniforms on them, we give them the technology and the flashers and radios to make sure that everything's running smoothly. So
they can reach you when they need to.
yes, they do. And we have, we always consistently have an officer where the crossing guards are in the morning. So if you don't, there's always a car out there or somebody's with them.
So you're engaged in a study right now and you're going to be reaching out to the public. When do you expect to have the results?
That'll be right around July. So July, I think at the end of July, we anticipate bringing so it's a traffic control plan specifically that we're looking for. So we need to take that whole area, right? You've got Medlin, you got Bobcat, you got the high school. You need to kind of figure out what's the best flow of traffic and way for us to manage all of that. Is it some infrastructure? Is it more personnel? Is it left-hand turns restricted in some areas? We just need to kind of make sure that we're doing a good job doing that. The firm that we actually have engaged in this is the same one that does the South Lake traffic control plan for the square there, the South Lake Square. So we're excited to get the results back from them, kind of see what those look like, and then kind of propose some solutions out to the public, get some public input. We anticipate, again, the end of July, we'll have the report presented to the town council. Probably August, September timeline is when we'll be reaching out to the public and asking for more input about what does this plan look like? How does it impact you? What is your feedback about the way you think it'll work?
I'm sorry, when did you say you're going to reach out to us?
August or September, probably.
Good.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Wright. So That's it for the update. Now I want to talk about the budget in the current situation. So,
Sorry, before you go on to that, the budget, do you want to mention the identity theft?
oh,
class?
yes,
'Cause
I'm sorry.
that's a
Yes,
good-
thank you. Also, as an update, we're holding an identity theft class on the 25th of April. We're actually holding 2 classes that day at 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock.
Here's some flyers.
So, yes, please attend. It's an hour-long meeting, and it's basically all about identity theft and the ways to protect yourself and your family. So it's at the Church of Latter-day Saints there on Bobcat and Trophy Club Drive. So thank you for reminding me of that.
I brought the flyers.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
What about the replacement of the dog?
Oh, yes, that's right. So we have purchased a new dog. The new dog is in training right now with the officer, and should be back in 5 weeks. So Indy's going to be retired on May 13th.
I thought it already was.
Well, an official retirement here at council. But yes, Indy's no longer a working dog. So, because Barry's now has the new dog. So basically, I back up a second. Barry went out, we surveyed, I think, 6 different vendors that sell working dogs. We picked one in California. Barry went out there, he selected a dog over 2 days. He brought the dog back and they bonded for 2 weeks to make sure that that relationship would work. It worked fine. The dog is a lot like Indy is. Respectful, calm, quiet, but very ready to work. So he just went back out. Monday was his start of his second week of training with the dog, and he's already sent a few videos, which I'll pass on to you guys. And this dog is incredible. It's a little bit bigger than Indy, but it's still a German Shepherd, and very well behaved.
So he's living with Indy though when he's here.
Yes, actually, he does not really live with Indy because they keep him separate.
Oh, okay.
But yes, so Indy, this new dog has a compound in Barry's backyard with his own home air-conditioned camera system.
Nice.
Yeah, you have to keep, this is a working dog. This is not a family
Hey,
dog.
there's a whole lot of us need.
Yeah, Indy's now becoming a family dog, but he has not been a family dog, but now he is. So, but we will do,
Sorry, remind me how old Indy is and when he,
Indy is 10 years old.
10.
It worked for Trophy Club for 9 years.
That's amazing.
Yes, for
That
a
is
canine to get 9 years was a great accomplishment.
Six was all I ever thought about.
Yeah, no, that's about the lifespan of most dogs. But Indy, being just a drug dog, has really done a fantastic job. And we'll put out his stats again, but the numbers are incredible, the amount of money and drugs that he's recovered. And this dog will not be a marijuana dog. We're not training him to scent of marijuana. So it's just going to be hard drugs, cocaine, methamphetamine and stuff like that. So in case with the new hemp law and all those other things that possibly are coming down the road, it keeps us from having to replace this dog. So if there were ever, enhanced or legalize some of that stuff, we don't have to go out and get another dog. And so it's better that, because most of the officers spell marijuana anyway. So it's not worth our
You
time.
can't smell it, you need to go see a doctor.
So, but yes, thank you for asking about Indy and the new dog. But we're hoping that the training goes well. And so far, the first week, it's been fantastic. Dog's very responsive. It listens to Barry's controls. I mean, if you've watched the old Indy demos where Barry would send the dog out and stop Indy on a dime, this dog's already doing that after a week. And just listening to Barry.
But I mean, that year that he was in California though, he was getting some serious training.
Yes, the dog was already trained on drugs and control. So he is 1. He's a little bit older than 1, but yes, he's already partially trained. Now he's training with Barry to work as a team. He is becoming Barry's partner. That's what this next 6 weeks is about, is all about him working with Barry to track, to find people, to find narcotics, but to work as a team. So there is no issues. When Barry gives that dog a command, that dog will listen and he'll stop on a dime. That's really what this is about, is that dog's not going to do anything Barry doesn't want him to do.
So this one can speak English.
Yes, or at least enough to listen.
does
Yes,
that dog have a name?
he's Odin.
What?
Odin.
Nice.
Yes. So, yes. And it's a big dog. It's darker than Indy was. So, but he's about 20 pounds heavier than Indy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a bigger dog. So when he hits somebody, he's going to hurt them. So, all right, that's enough bragging on the dog. So, but thank you for that, because the dog, you're going to really enjoy meeting the new dog. So, we're going to be busy over the next couple of months because we're moving into budget season. So I would like to propose a budget workshop in May where we just have a casual working discussion about our budget in May, where we're going to go through a line item and talk about what we currently are doing and what we're planning on doing for the next year. This year, we did a lot. You know, we bought the drug analyzer, we provided funding for the dog, 3 new cars, and a lot of ammo and stuff. So we did a lot this year. We went into our reserves this year, about $80,000. We might ask for a little bit of next year, not that kind of number, because we may not have that. We had almost 100% in reserves. So we're drawing that down to get more to our 30 or 40%. So we'll look and talk about that for our next meeting to see where we stand on the fund balance to decide what we want to do with that. But we will have a nice, and I'll send you the budget in advance and some ideas that we have on our end in advance, so you'll become prepared to have that workshop.
Okay, that's in May.
That's in May. Yeah, we'll set a date. I mean, if you guys want to talk about a date right now, or you want Julie to send out a calendar like we normally do, so you can check your calendars and make sure we have a quorum for that. Does that work better if we just send you a few dates in May?
Sure.
Like
That's
Julie?
fine. Yeah.
Yep, okay.
If you
And then,
try to do it in the middle of the month, it
okay,
might be better.
yep.
Just saying. No,
So, and I sent you all this sheet. This is the law on the CCPD and what we have to do things by. So right after the May budget workshop, we're going to have to roll right into a budget meeting in June. So we're talking about doing an early meeting in June. And we'll also send out that date at the same time we do the May date, because we have to do a public hearing in June. So after we do our workshop, we're going to have a budget meeting, which is a public hearing on the budget, like we do every year. We'll send out a 10-day notice and see if some people can come, and we'll talk about our budget again at that meeting. And then the end of June, we'll hold another meeting where we'll actually adopt our budget and prepare it to be sent to council for acceptance. So those are our next 3 meetings.
Maybe we should set all 3 of them up together.
Yeah, Julie, we'll send out a calendar and make sure that everybody can meet
Right.
the date. So with Leo not being here, we want to have almost all of you here if we can.
Yep.
So does that make sense? Because then the town's budget goes into process and this gets tagged along with it. And so we need to have enough time for the council to review our budget and make sure they don't have any questions. If they do, we have to have a joint meeting and all that stuff. So, but if everybody's in agreements with that, that pretty much wraps us up. So, but, plan on the workshop being a little bit longer than our normal meetings, gives us enough time to talk about cars and equipment and issues like that. So we can really have a good understanding of some of our programs. Make sense?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Just curious, does it have to be in the afternoons, or can we do it during the day, or no? I'm just.
Yeah, we can do it.
There, 'cause
We can do it anytime you guys want to. Does the day, I mean, okay, Chris didn't,
Okay.
yep. Okay,
I was just curious.
yep. Leo may not be able to make the day either, so, okay. Yes. I think we can make it at 5, instead of 6.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
my Rotary Club, have it at 7 a.m.
Okay. Yeah, he's talking. So, okay. Any other questions on police update or anything like that, or future? So this is, it's a good time for us. We're doing a lot more than we've done in the past with information providing and stuff. So budget discussions will be good. We've locked down a lot of things that'll be recurring, like the flock camera systems are recurring. We got that contract in there. So we'll talk about that next year payment and things like that. We did install the 10th camera. So it's up there by 7-Eleven. So that's up and working. So thank you for that.
And has that program been going as well as it has in the past?
It's been fantastic. So we're working on stats now. We do our every 6-month report, and we put it on our transparency page. But we are working on now, how many cases has the flock camera system helped us close? And we're going to include that in our report.
Good.
That's good.
Yes, because it's really been helping a lot. So, yep. And we haven't had a lot of arrests with it, which is nice. We just had our first one for this year. So we've gone almost 3 months without an arrest. But when we first got it, we were getting them every day.
People know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's worked. So,
The bad guys know it. They don't come here.
that's right. So,
Anything else?
no, that's it. That closes out my update and planning. So, thank you.
That said, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, this meeting is adjourned at 6:32 PM.
You go.